Welcome to this week's episode of Coffee with the Journalist, brought to you by One Pitch. The guests on our show include some of the most notable journalists from the top US-based publications who cover topics including technology, lifestyle and culture, health, science, consumer products, and business news. We discuss their role, the types of stories they cover, what their inbox looks like, and how they connect with sources. Today's guest is Brit Morse, an assistant editor for Inc. magazine. Brit joined Inc. in June 2020 and covers startups, entrepreneurship, and access to capital. Aside from writing, she is also a violinist and is learning how to play guitar. During the episode, Brit tells us more about her recent conversations with employment lawyers, how she follows up with sources, her occasional interview with founders, and more. Let's hear more from Brit on the episode today.
Welcome, everyone. This is Coffee with the Journalist. I'm Beck Bamberger, and today, so excited, Brit, not Brittany, Brit Morse is here from Inc. magazine. And you're drinking tea right now, Miss Brittany, right? Brit.
I am. Beck, thanks so much for having me. I'm humbled. Earl Grey, to be specific.
Earl Grey. Excellent. Well, I have sparkling water, so at least we got two drinks going here of some sort. It's very rarely coffee, actually, on this damn podcast. So here we are.
If I drink coffee too late, I just don't sleep. So
Me too.
I stick to tea most days.
That's what you got to do. I like it. We're also recording. You're my second interview in 2021. This is so exciting. So we're at the top of January here. You just moved back to New York, you said.
I did. I just got back to Brooklyn. It's good. It's good. I got some time upstate with my dad and brother in the absolute frigid cold of the Finger Lakes in upstate New York. I survived, made it back to New York, and it's good to be in slightly warmer weather in some kind of civilization. So it's good to be back.
Good. Yeah, you said you didn't see the ground necessarily, or you didn't touch the ground?
I didn't see the ground. No, there was too much snow to see much green or quite anything. But, that's how it kind of goes upstate. It snows once. People like to say it snows once and it starts in November and it ends in March. And then you just, that's about it.
Wow. Sounds frigid. Unlike I'm in San Diego. I'm like, snow? We wear puffer jackets when it's, 62. So
I know.
A little different over here. But let's start off with your inbox. You were saying it definitely was full post holidays because we all had time off. You got some time, which is great. But what does the normal inbox flurry of pitches look like for you on a week by week basis?
Gosh, I'm not the best person at organizing my inbox at all. I usually just sort of let it fill up as it goes. I don't know if I get a specific number per day. Maybe it depends so much on time of year. I don't know, maybe like a few hundred a week, maybe probably more.
That's
right now, there's somewhere upwards of like 3,000 in my inbox right now, and I'm working on it. Let's just put it that way.
Do you do any flagging system of any sort or filing, or are you a mass deleter? Like you actually delete everything?
Oh my gosh. I'm one of those people who hoards all of my emails and I don't delete them until I absolutely have to. So I don't delete anything. Because I'm always like, what if I need it later? So I actually have a Google Doc or a really big notes sheet that I keep, and I will write down notes or sort of copy and paste a name or something if I want it, or I'll make note of an email and then I can come back to it later. Most of the time, though, that's just sort of if I see a source that I'm I might be writing about that in the next month or two or whatever. That person seems really good, but I don't need it for a story right now. I'll just make a note of it. And then whenever I have free time, which is almost never, but should that day ever come, I usually go back to my notes and look it up from there.
So you're the first I've heard that has a separate running document going like this.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. So what are you doing? Copying, pasting pieces of a pitch, pieces of a just contact, and it's just kind of, what does this magical document look like?
Oh my gosh, it's really not that magical. It's actually extremely frightening. It's basically just oftentimes a name of a source or who they are, or if it's a founder or co-founder of a company, and then just the contact email that I could get in contact with them should I need to. And, sometimes a long time will go by and I'll reach back out to that person and they'll be like, sorry, I don't work with them anymore. Or, I've moved on or something. And then I still just keep in touch that way. And yeah, it is, I wouldn't say a magical document, but I love to search and find things by key names because I guess that's how things stick in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
So that's usually how I find things. And I'm very bad at deleting things in my email. I keep everything.
And I like how it's a doc, like not a spreadsheet. It's just a doc.
Oh, gosh.
Like how many pages is it?
I don't even know. Right now, let me pull it up real quick. This map.
Yeah, I'm so curious about this.
It's 47 pages.
Oh my God.
I know. Yeah, it's a little ridiculous, but it's just, I don't really like Excel spreadsheets for some reason.
I don't like those either. They
don't really work in my brain.
Yeah.
I just see things in document form. Yeah, I hate scrolling. And so I just command find everything in a document.
Amazing. Okay. First time I've heard this.
Hey, maybe it's a rookie mistake. Who knows?
No, it may be a phenomenal hack of sorts. Huh. Okay. So what type of pitch gets your attention that you open? Do you open every single pitch?
I definitely do not open every single pitch. I open a lot of pitches, obviously stuff that's related to what I'm covering right now or covering in the moment. So, right now I've been looking at a lot of stuff related to vaccines in the workplace and COVID and workplace safety and covering things related to the stimulus package. So that's kind of been top of mind. But I also just look at stuff too that could be like potential profile stories or anything about founders or co-founders running interesting companies. And I rarely actually write upon them, but I've gotten maybe a handful of pitches in the last couple years that have actually turned into pretty fun profiles. So I usually keep my eye out for that as well. And anytime we see any kind of like growth stats or anything in a headline, I mean, that's kind of like Inc. magazine's bread and butter is, how much are you making in revenue or sales or how much are you growing in the last few years? So I always look for that
percentages, too. Right?
Yeah. Any kind of statistics too. Because usually too, if companies are willing to share that information, it means they're also a little bit more open to providing those financials, which are kind of necessary for writing for Inc. in general. So those are like always things I look for in a lot of different pitches.
And then you kind of touched on it just there on, it'll come from a pitch. So when you're thinking of, okay, I want to do this profile, or you're thinking of just some story you want to do, does that come from, I'm on a walk looking outside, or I'm looking at my plants, or I'm just thinking about something, or are you getting actual pitches that result in a story? In other words, how do you come up with the stories you do?
Oh gosh, that's a heavy question. Well, we have news meetings usually every morning or every few days at Inc. where we talk with all the editors and all the reporters, and a lot of people bring in, ideas there, and we're constantly bouncing things off of each other. So whenever it comes to news coverage, so, like I mentioned, vaccines, stimulus, all that's really come from the news meeting, is just come from us bouncing back ideas back and forth and what we need to cover. But a lot of the profiles and features, some of the best ones I've written have actually come from pitches, but I would say it's been really extremely rare. It's like, I don't know, like 1 in 1,000 kind of a thing where it just hits at like the right moment. And I happen to have free time and it happens to be a really good story. And because I do obviously news coverage, but I also occasionally will just take like a random founder interview just to see, like, do you have a cool story? Like, would it work for us? Does it make sense? Is there a struggle there? Is there a really interesting plot line? So I do take those on occasion when they seem interesting.
And this has come up a couple times, especially with COVID continuing as it is. Do you ever just hop on the phone and be like, yeah, talk to me for 15 minutes. Let me see what's here.
Oh, totally. Lately, that's been with a lot of different sources in like HR, and I've been on the phone with so many lawyers recently.
Really?
Actually, a lot of like employment lawyers to talk to me about like what's legal in the workplace and how to set up workplace ramifications and how to set up your workplace for COVID. And, there are all these really intricate nuances there, especially when people are starting to bring employees back to work. And I talked to them about like, how does that work with vaccines? How is this going to work in the next 6 months? How is it going to work in the next year? What is legal or what's not legal?
Yeah. Can you ask somebody, hey, have you been vaccinated? Can you ask that as an employer?
That's a great question. I assume you can, although it may be considered in some ways to be health information. And
is that HIPAA compliant? Yeah.
It might be considered under HIPAA. I'd actually have to talk to someone about that. I'm not entirely sure. It's a great question.
There you go. Yeah, it just struck me as like, how do you
just sparked another story for me?
Hey,
so
look at that. I love it. No, but that's a real question. Because you know those little signs, like I was going to the zoo and they have you read the sign and it says, have you been exposed? And it's like anybody could go on this and lie out of their teeth, which I'm sure happens all the time. That is a very sad system.
Yeah. And I mean, it's crazy right now. There isn't really like one great method to bring employees back to work right now.
Yeah.
Companies are kind of having to figure it out on their own. And part of that deals with, individual state and local guidelines and having to follow those on a really localized scale, especially since states are doing, vaccine distribution and all of that. But a lot of it has to deal too with the fact that businesses are mostly on their own right now, having to figure out what to do about COVID and how to handle it. So I guess, there isn't really one great answer, which is one thing that my reporting has come up with and that business owners don't always love to hear. But, I can give the best advice, but there is no one real answer.
Fascinating. Well, these are the things you get to explore and look into in your role.
Definitely.
I like it.
Today's interview will continue after this brief message brought to you by OnePitch. Are you curious to see the unique ways OnePitch helps PR professionals and marketers pitch journalists? Head to onepitch.co to learn about our new OnePitch score and see how easy it is to find the right journalist to pitch your news to. Sign up for your free account today. Now, back to today's episode.
Well, let's do a quick word association game. I have a couple of words. Let's see what you say.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Sure. I will do my best.
Okay. Food.
Tie.
Drink.
Tea.
Hobby.
Music.
Poetry.
Lyrics.
Violin. Because I know you're playing the violin and the fiddle.
Oh gosh, bluegrass. I was in a bluegrass band in college. Yeah.
How fun is that?
I went to like one of the only schools in the nation where you can actually major in bluegrass. Small fact.
What?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That's awesome.
So I started playing classical when I was 6, played bluegrass in college, also picked up the mandolin and guitar on the way. So
wow.
Just about my favorite thing to do. Thanks for finding that out.
Yes. Oh, we do our research. How many instruments can you play?
3 and sing badly.
Okay.
So 3.5.
Okay.
I'll say that.
Great. Okay. Next word. Oh, COVID-19 vaccine.
Workplace safety.
Startups.
Fast growth.
Entrepreneurs.
Badass.
Journalism.
Difficult.
Small businesses.
Main Street.
Pitch.
Oh my God.
Inbox.
Frightening.
No one has had a positive expression for that word yet. Yep. Just giving you data. Okay. Well, what are you reading right now, Miss Brittany or Brit?
That's a great question.
For fun, like what are you reading for fun? We'll also take watching, listening, podcasts are acceptable, Netflix series, anything here. I get all my ideas from this part.
The best thing I read this year actually was Just Kids by Patti Smith.
Kids. Okay.
Yeah, it's a fantastic memoir about her and Robert Mapplethorpe. And so the last museum opening, I guess this was before everything closed last winter, they had an exhibit at the Guggenheim. And I remember it because it was like the last thing I did in public before everything shut down. Was I went to the museum and I saw the Robert Mapplethorpe exhibition, and then I read the book after, and it was really fantastic.
Wow. It has a ton of reviews on Audible.
Yeah.
Thousands.
It's really great.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Oh,
highly recommend.
Buying it with my one Audible credit right now. Awesome. Done.
I also finished The Queen's Gambit recently.
How was it? Everyone likes it?
It's fantastic. I mean, if you haven't seen it, you should see it. It's
on my list. Yeah.
Very well written, very well produced. And The Bachelor started again this week, and that is... yeah, I'll go into like really cool stuff.
It did?
And then
was it
filmed? It
did. Back in 2020? Early?
It was. It was filmed in 2020.
Okay.
They go through the whole quarantine thing. It's honestly like the most basic thing about me, but I am a huge Bachelor fanatic.
No shame to that.
Really, no shame. I like my wine on Monday nights and my Bachelor. I need it.
Yeah. What season are they in? Like 29 or something ridiculous?
Oh, I have no idea.
It's something that
I don't even know if they fit 30.
That franchise,
but I've been watching forever.
Long lasting, yes. Wow,
absolutely.
Okay, well, that's the first time I heard Bachelor on this show, also. But hey, we will take it. Great book recommendation too. I always like anything. Any podcasts you love or are into right now?
I'm obsessed with Radiolab.
Yeah,
I have been since it came
one.
out.
Mm-hmm.
I always listen to Radiolab. I listen to a bunch of them on my drive back to New York from upstate. It's just sort of like my go-to for any kind of whenever I'm driving or just in the subway. It's just so well done. Yeah,
that stays on the charts. I was just looking at the top 10 on Spotify and everything, and that stays there. Radiolab. Awesome. Mm-hmm. Well, what are we thinking to turn a little bit, it might be related to what we just mentioned, the future of journalism. What do you think about it?
Oh, that's so frightening. I mean, I just joined journalism. Hi.
Yeah.
Hello. I've only been in this industry for about 3 years. So I, at the moment, just sort of feel lucky to have a job.
Yeah.
If I'm completely honest, I had a lot of friends who were laid off at various publications because of COVID. And I don't know, I'm feeling really grateful to still have a job. I'm hoping that continues. I think journalism is just going to keep changing. I really find it interesting what people are doing with newsletters, what people are doing with subtext, I think is really cool. Mm-hmm. I'm getting text messages from journalists now, which I actually really like because I'm not a huge newsletter person.
Oh, interesting, because those are blowing up so much and it's too much, it feels like.
Oh, yeah.
But I think
I really like it.
I do too. No, I'm a fan. I'm curious to see what the tipping point of that'll be because you have this person's for $3, you got another person $5. It's similar with the content streaming services. It's how many of these can you have before it's $300 a month you're spending on streaming? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I think for me, I obviously follow all of the Inc. journalists.
Yeah.
And all my colleagues and everything. But, if I have a few journalists who I really, really love who have subtext. And so I follow those pretty religiously. Mm. And I just absolutely, I don't know, I'm not a huge, email frightens me. So the last thing I want to do to look for something fun is to go to my email and read a newsletter. I don't know.
Yeah.
My brain automatically is that's scary. So I don't know. When I get a text, it's just maybe it's something psychologically, but it's a more happier response.
Oh, okay. So you have a positive connotation to it. I get a text from Obama. He has a text thing going. I'm it kind of feels personal, even though it's not. I know it's not, but I enjoy the thought that it is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I was getting them from Biden for months.
See,
yeah.
See,
definitely.
Same effect. It's intimate. Your text messages. Mm-hmm. That's why it gets annoying when you get those stupid do you want to do a survey? You're how is this in my text messages?
Totally.
Anyway, that's just me. Okay, Brit, let's go into our Mad Lib part, which is super fun and sometimes quite accurate. We'll have to see what happens. You can tell us from here. So I'll give you a word, a thing, and I'll fill in your answer, and then I'll read you back the whole thing. Does that sound good?
I will do my best.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay. A catchphrase, any catchphrase, Nike is just do it.
Does cowabunga count?
Sure. That's a new one.
All right.
Cowabunga. Okay. A scare phrase that you would hear in your job in journalism.
Oh, what do you mean by a scare phrase?
Deadline.
Oh, God. Okay. Can we talk about this?
Oh, mm-hmm. Can we talk about this? Yeah, that usually doesn't go great. Okay. A empowering word or something like positive that's in journalism.
It's live.
Oh, it's live. Okay. An adjective.
Grateful.
Grateful. A part of a pitch.
Hey, Brit.
Hey, Brit. Another adjective.
Smooth.
Smooth. Another part of a pitch.
Just following up.
Just following up. So annoying. Amount of time. Effing hate those. And I don't even get pitches. Okay. What's an amount of time?
A month.
A month. An adjective.
Bright.
Bright. A singular noun.
New York.
New York. How about a topic? Almost done.
Music.
Music. And then a verb ending in ing.
Laughing.
Laughing. And then just any verb you want.
Any verb. Playing.
Play. Playing. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. I'm going to read it back. Are you ready?
Sure.
To me, tech journalism is cowabunga. It consists of, can we talk about this? And it's live on the daily. If a pitch has a grateful, hey, Brit, I will absolutely respond to it. However, if a pitch is a smooth, just following up, you can expect no reply from me.
Oh.
If a month goes by and you don't see an email back from me, you can just assume I am not bright about it. The best stories always have New York and are usually about music. The best way to reach me is by laughing to me, but you can also play it to me. I kind of like this one.
I feel like that was pretty good. I thought of the smooth just following up really got to me. That was that really got to me.
That was quite perfect there. That was a good one. I enjoyed. Brit, thank you so much for being on here today and sipping your tea with us and telling us your favorite, that book too. I already have it downloaded. It's coming right now.
Yeah. Awesome. I hope you read it. And thanks so much for having me again. This has been great.
So fun. Thanks again.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Coffee with the Journalist featuring Brit Morse from Inc. Magazine. If you enjoy listening to our show, make sure to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. And if you have a moment, please leave us a review to share your thoughts about the show and today's guest. To learn more about the latest tools on OnePitch, head to our website at onepitch.co. We'll see you all next week with a brand new guest and even more insights about the journalists you want to learn more about. Until then, start great stories.